people can come.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Come on.
Okay, hi. My name is Nicole Kaplan Pollack, and I first just want to thank Autism and Us support group for giving my children and myself this opportunity to introduce ourselves and kind of share with you about what we do and what we're doing. This is really exciting, and I've really enjoyed reading all the comments on the site. I look at the pictures, and I love the support and kindness that is shared all over the site every day. I think it's such a beautiful thing, and I think especially during times like these, to see people connect with each other and reach out to each other is so important, and it's so needed, and I've just really loved seeing that. So thank you for having us. I'm a child adolescent therapist in Southfield at Beaumont Children's Center. And my kids have started something really exciting. They've started something called Quarantine Help. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I do once I let them kind of tell you what they do and how it all kind of ties together. So go ahead, guys.
My name is Jack Pollack. I am 15 years old, and I'm a sophomore at Bloomfield Hills High School.
And my name is Sammy, and I am 13 years old. I currently go to West Hills Middle School.
So we started this because during the quarantine, we had a lot of time, and we kind of wanted to do more with the time that we had during this time. And so on Wednesday, April 1st, was the day that we started it. One day, me, my mom, and my sister went for a walk, and we just kind of put the whole thing together, and it was pretty smooth and easy.
And so the idea of the whole website and everything else that we have put together is to help kids who are home bored or feel alone or just want people to have a friend to talk to or ask questions, and just let them know that this is a safe place that they can go and that it's okay to talk to us.
Once you go to the actual website, you'll see a picture of Sammy and I, and you'll also see what the website's about and how it got started, and more about me and Sammy. And as you scroll down, there's a place where you can type comment, and we can see what you say, and then we can reply to you as well. And then we also just started a weekly blog.
And it's where we talk about what we're doing and answering the most frequent questions that we get in the emails that you guys send us. So since we posted our first blog yesterday, actually, we talked about kind of like what we did that day and what it has been like, what has been the worst and the best part of this whole quarantine. And we also put questions at the end of every blog so that you guys can share with us on the emails and just so that we can start a conversation.
Most of our emails look something like um, anyone, any age, emailing us about relationship that's either with their friends, their their parents, siblings, any questions about that, how to spend your time in quarantine. It's like if you're bored, you can always go outside, take a walk, or like play a video game or study for school. And then we also get questions about the actual virus and how to prevent it, how to keep it out of your home, and how to keep your family members safe and everything.
And then it's really important for teens to talk to teens and not just adults, because sometimes adults don't understand as well, or they don't understand as well. And what me and Jack have been doing, it has taught us multiple different coping skills and so many things from my mom, since she's a social worker. It has just taught us so much, and it's a really great opportunity for me and Jack.
Sammy and I are really inspired by my mom and what she's done, and we have been attached to some of my mom's social groups for many years, and it's really helped us understand and be able to talk to kids older, younger. It's given us a lot of communication skills, and this has allowed us to understand younger kids and older kids so much more.
Yeah. So this has been, I think, such an amazing opportunity. and an example of kids reaching out into our community to help other kids. Like my kids say all the time, sometimes parents or other adults just don't really get us like our peers do. So it's been really refreshing to see young people writing letters to them. And I've really enjoyed watching them respond and take it really seriously. And I think what's been so helpful is that they reflect on their own situations and feelings. There have been plenty of days through these changes where they start to feel really frustrated, or just maybe they're not getting along with each other, or they just kind of start to feel like they're going to lose it. And I think when they can hear other kids talking about how they're feeling, it helps them to kind of sort through their thoughts and feel like, I'm not the only one feeling like this too. And it's been a true pleasure for me to teach them about positive ways to cope, because we can all deal with stressors in healthy and unhealthy ways. And I think the more opportunities like sites like this site that you feel that you have somebody that you can connect with is so important, especially for young people. I think often young people can feel very alone in what they're experiencing. So to have other kids that they can reach out to who genuinely care and will respond any day, anytime. I think it just helps kids to know that they're connected, that they're not alone, and that a lot of other kids are going through really similar situations. I think with what's happening with this virus and schools being closed, we are all dealing with uncertainties and fears daily, no matter how well we're managing. I think that fear of not knowing how long this will affect us, or how much it will impact us, from health situations to just being off track with our daily routines, is very unsettling. I just said to a fellow therapist I work with the other day, I think everyone has even more understanding of what many autistic young people feel just on their day-to-day lives. I think transitions are really difficult. There's always that kind of feeling of unsettledness, with not knowing what's ahead and not being able to know. And I think right now that all of us can relate to that to some degree, because this is something that I'm even hearing people in their 80s and 90s say, I've never had anything like this affect our lives like this. So I think sites like this and a platform like Quarantine Help is a really powerful way for people to know that you are absolutely not alone. In a lot of the comments I read on these support sites, I love when somebody just feels totally at a loss and they put themselves outside of their comfort zone. They describe an intimate situation that they're faced with. And I love when I see all these comments from people who say, I was you many years ago, and this is what I did, and this was so helpful. Or even just someone saying, I'm in the same boat. I don't really have advice, but I know exactly how you feel. I think just people need people, and connecting with each other is really powerful. And that's really what I do mostly in my practice. I facilitate social skills groups with kids of all ages. I group them by their age and also by the types of concerns parents are having. And I have also found it to be very powerful for kids to connect with each other. I tailor the needs to the group by the types of personalities, the dynamic of each group. In every group, I always start with what's called check-in, where kids have an opportunity to talk about their feelings. And I just feel that this component is so important and so beneficial, and can be even utilized at home from a parent's perspective. Just making sure to take the time daily to ask and to get used to talking and verbalizing our feelings about how we're doing. And I always stress that anger or sadness, these are all very normal and healthy emotions to feel. It's just how we channel those emotions is important to kind of heighten our own self-awareness so that we learn to cope in the best way possible. Through my kids responding to other kids having issues, A big factor that comes up with this and in my groups are coping skills, that they can be healthy and unhealthy. So we focus a lot with something I call positive self-talk, and it's just being more aware of and getting used to sending ourselves positive self-reminders. We practice in my groups often something I call negative thought replacement. So if you get into the habit of kind of getting stressed out and thinking negative thoughts, it's important to kind of crush those thoughts and replace them with something that can be a lot more encouraging to yourself. I always say you have to be your own best friend. So you wouldn't look at your best friend and say, "You're a loser," or "I can't believe you did that." You would find something to focus on that you really admire in your best friend or love or know that they can utilize to get over something that they're struggling with. And that is something you have to practice with yourself. You have to have a solid relationship and love yourself before having healthy relationships with others. So I have definitely found my social skills groups to be effective when it comes to socialization skills. I think another reason that they're really helpful is that um, I can take a situation as it's naturally happening. If two kids start to get into it, they disagree with each other, we can kind of stop, pause, discuss, rewind, and kind of make right with it, do the right thing. Where we don't always have that ability in real life situations. And that's when sometimes we can kind of regret, but still learn from making a poor choice. But during groups, if somebody gets very upset because they've lost a game and they just can't handle that, then we can talk about why is it important to have good sportsmanship? Why is it important to be able to lose a game, but still learn how to have fun and how to handle it in a mature, more appropriate, age appropriate way. So those are some reasons I think the social skills groups work best. I think, like I said before, the importance of identifying and expressing feelings are really important, and to practice that at home with your kids. I think it just opens up the line of communication. I think open and honest communication with your children are so helpful and it's so important. We actually did something in our house that I think could be something kind of cool to do right now, especially with everything happening. We have a caring jar. We actually have it at my office called a caring hearts jar, where our coworkers, when they catch somebody doing something that is kind, they just write it down and we put it up on a board. So I kind of started to implement that in our own home, and I can't tell you how effective it's been. We just kind of catch each other doing something that we appreciate. It could be something so simple, but and then just jot it down, and every few days dump out the jar, and it really makes everybody feel good. And I think it's just a good reminder of how you can do simple acts at home every day to create a positive, more peaceful environment at home, um, especially during such a stressful time as now. Sometimes it's easy for us to kind of focus on what we're doing to annoy each other. We all definitely respond off of each other. I teach my own children and kids at work constantly. I'm saying energy is contagious and we all respond off of each other. So if we can take the time and just write one positive observation or something we really appreciated that someone else in our family did for one of us, it makes you feel good, and it makes it feel really good for that person to hear it, and it's reinforcing. And then it's focusing on the positives rather than the negatives, which I have found through the work that I've done with kids to be a lot more effective. I've been at the Center for Human Development at Beaumont's Children's Center since 1999. I started, actually 94, I started as a tutor, and I've been doing my social skills group since 99. And like I said, I really, really love what we do. And the kids do. I think for a lot of the kids, this might be the one place during the whole week that they really feel connected, just kind of let their guard down, laugh with each other. It's extremely powerful because unfortunately, too often I hear a lot of the kids say that they feel invisible at school, or they just are never invited to do anything. Some kids have more of a need to connect socially, and others are comfortable where they're at. And I think that's another really important message and understanding to convey to your children or teens is that it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. And we're all different. And what I constantly stress to my kids is in the groups is to respect each other's differences. That's the beauty of life, that we're all different and that we face things differently, and to respect that and not pass judgment on each other. This is like a brochure I've had forever about my social skills groups, but some of the things that we focus all the time on are also self-esteem. I believe that I instill that in every group that I have, no matter the age. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I group the kids by their age. So I have groups all the way from ages 5 and 6 up through high school. With my high schoolers, it definitely becomes a lot more discussion based. As I was saying, check-in is super important because I find that once a group participant is able to verbalize something that they experienced or that they're feeling, it definitely snowballs. And the other kids in the group just feel a lot more able and comfortable sharing their own feelings and relating them to their own experiences. And it's that alone, I just think, provides them huge comfort in knowing that they're not alone and that these peers that they're with, who they end up really liking, are going through a lot of the same things. I always tell parents too, for those children who seem most resistant in teens to the idea of starting a group, because usually change or that unknown factor can be really overwhelming, that I say, let your child feel that they have a role in making the decision of joining. Have them just try it at least one time and then let them decide if they want to continue. Because I think kids should feel like they have a role in decisions made about them. And I think that it just helps them maybe be a little bit more open-minded, knowing that this is not like a forced commitment. And then 99% of the time, they really do enjoy it. And for the small percentage that don't, it's probably not the most ideal group for them anyway at that time. Some other issues we get into in groups are bullying, feeling left out. A lot of kids have dealt with other kids making them feel left out or calling them names. Bullying is still, unfortunately, way too prevalent in schools. And this gives kids an idea of what bullying really is and how to handle it. I try and help them come from a more understanding perspective because I truly feel most kids who are bullying are kind of battling their own problems, whether at home or at school. And because if someone's truly happy, then they're not coming to school to take others down. So sometimes it's better to kind of come from a more understanding perspective than an angry place because it can help us handle it a little bit more easily. Other things we talk about in group are communication skills, really learning the difference between nonverbal and verbal. Conversation skills can be really hard for kids, so it might kind of lead them to stay more socially withdrawn. So we do a lot of role play exercises, how to initiate, carry on, and end conversations appropriately. So that's really helpful, I think, for any child or adolescent, just to get more comfortable in their own skin and really listen to what someone else is saying, being a little bit more open to others' interests and not just being closed-minded and only interested in what they're maybe interested in. So we do a lot of work with that, and it's effective. Reading others' nonverbal social cues. So we learn the nonverbal social component, like how to have good eye contact, how our facial expressions and our body postures can really affect the messages that we send to each other without actually speaking. So we learn a lot about that. And then with the verbal, we learn about our volume of speech. Tone of voice is huge. We have a lot of fun practicing how to talk to each other and how we can say the same phrase using different tones of voice and how it can completely change the meaning of what we wanted to say, but especially at home, just being more aware of the tone we use when we talk to our siblings or our parent or parents or whoever we're living with in the home. Other things we work a lot with is resolving conflict with the younger children. We work a lot with how to be good with sharing, taking turns. We learn about what compromise is and why that is so important in having good social interactions with same age peers. We talk a lot about family issues. It's become a very huge part of our group's focus because lots of families, kids are contending with blended family situations, step families. There's a lot of kids also right now during the quarantine. There's a lot of questions I'm getting about shared custody, and it just poses a lot of gray areas. There is no one size fits all. It's really it's weighing in everybody's feelings is always so important, and make everybody feel that their opinions and their feelings really matter and are being heard. Because like I said, we all respond off of each other. Impulsivity is a major area. We always work with choices and decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, thinking ahead before reacting to situations, making sure that we calm ourselves before we react and we don't react when we're feeling angry. So that is really important. We have a lot of fun with that too. And that kind of comes back to the coping skills. So I think the most important part of what I do with my groups and what my kids are doing with quarantine help and what we're doing here with like support sites like Autism Us is just knowing that we can all make a positive difference. And the more that we are there for one another and really thinking about each other's feelings is super important. I know that there's nothing easy about any of this right now, and we're all carrying around a lot of fear and uncertainty and dealing with transitions. And that's not easy for anyone who has to deal with that daily, like we all have a good understanding of. And now we're finding ourselves dealing with it more than ever. So the more that we keep it positive, we keep us connected and just keep giving each other these positive messages and building each other up. I think that, like they say, we are in this together. We truly are. And we need to be there to help one another. And I'm seeing some really interesting comments. Impulsivity is a huge issue. And the most important way to help your child handle impulsive behaviors is to get into that repetition of just, take a break. Calm down first and take a break, because people need to walk away. I'm a huge advocate for breaks, especially with this homeschooling. This is not easy for anybody. It's like very difficult for me too. I have 4 kids at home right now, and trying to homeschool, like kind of help them stand and answer lots of questions. This is new for everybody. So give yourself a break. And I always say a good cry can be very powerful. It's okay to cry, and it's actually a very healthy, natural way that our bodies react to stress and to and overwhelm feelings. I also really believe strongly in family meetings. And when I say family, that might just mean you and one other person, the family unit, whoever's living together. You're living together and you're all affecting how one another feels. So it's really important to get into the habit of sitting down and allowing every person to have a chance to really express how they feel. What was the worst part of today? What was the best part? How can we start preventing some of these more difficult times where we find ourselves yelling or doing things that we don't feel good about inside what we're doing? Because we want to build each other up and support each other, especially during something that we're all dealing with. Being at home, whether you're working at home or someone in your family is on the front lines, our paramedics, our firefighters, nurses, doctors, all of these brave heroes that are out there putting their life on the line and we're thinking and worrying about within our own families. I mean, we owe so much to, and we are so grateful for. And I think it's been really beautiful when I go on these sites to see us all keeping each other together. And when we do lose it, I love to see the support to get us back on our feet and feeling better. And I love that they're doing the same thing for kids, because like like they said, sometimes kids just feel like adults just don't get it and they kind of speak their own language. And I think that's important. So it's been really nice to be on the site and to allow us this opportunity to reach out. And my kids, their website, like they said, is quarantine, spelled TEEN, help.com. And they just started a blog. So kids are welcome to leave their own ideas and thoughts. Everything is welcome. The more we connect, I think the better we all feel in all of this. And I don't know, do you guys have anything else you want to say? My website for the social skills groups is Open Doors Social, Social Skills, what is this? Open Doors for Kids. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Open Doors, the number 4kids.com. And if you're interested in any more information about groups or just emailing or reaching out to me, I would love that. I tell all the kids I work with that they are welcome to contact me any day, at night, or during the day. I think it's super important for everybody, especially young people, to know that there's somebody out there who cares, that they can reach out to, they can text, whether they're having a good day and they're really proud of themselves for something, or they're feeling like they're going to break down. Reaching out and talking it out is a really powerful way to handle conflict and difficult feelings. Like I said, anger and sadness are normal. It's how we channel it that can get us through anything, really. I just want to make sure I didn't really leave anything else out.
Is there any questions about quarantine help.com, or any question about like the emails or anything?
Yeah, I just saw that somebody made a comment about their granddaughter having peers but feeling left out. It's interesting. We're getting a lot of emails about kids who felt left out at school, but like there's even other ways that they can feel left out at home. Do you guys want to kind of make a comment about that?
Some of the emails that we have gotten, kids will be on a group FaceTime or on group chats, and they won't be included in them, and that's when they start to feel left out, when they're not a part of the chats or the videos or the calls or things like that.
Yeah, we had one specifically yesterday, I think. Yeah. She felt left out of a Zoom with some of her friends, and we just told her some of the advice that we gave her was just to kind of like talk to them about it, make sure like you talk to them, be nice about it and everything, and hopefully they'll understand. So.
Yeah. One thing that I found to be really important too is that the positive self-talk, like with the positive coping skills. Every time you hear your child or teenager say something that is really negative, remind them, say, how could you turn this around to feel more positive? What would you want to say to yourself to make you feel better about this? And help them learn how to turn some of these negative, discouraging thoughts they may say to themselves to the more positive reminders. Another thing I find really helpful are visual charts. I use them all the time. I find them to be so effective even within my own family. I think of three. I always kind of focus more on the positives and incentives and motivators rather than the negatives and kind of the negative reinforcement. I too often there's a lot of kids that kind of just shut down and you lose them. So I like motivators. So I always look when we've had a rough day or maybe that they were in trouble. I like to practice reflection and making it more of like a habit to do before bed. It's kind of a nice way to close the day with your child and connect with them and kind of reflect on, was there a poor choice maybe you made today, or what was the worst part of today? Maybe it was when everything got real heated at home and nobody really liked how they handled it because everybody's just frustrated. But then you can think together, what could we learn from that we could really use the next day? I think making mistakes and poor choices is actually not a bad thing. I think it's a way to learn about ourselves more, and it's the only way to really learn and make positive changes within our own relationships and our reactions and responses to each other to improve how we handle ourselves, how we handle anger, and how we can more meaningfully connect with our loved ones, especially right now, to really be there for each other. Nobody feels good when we lash out at each other. So after we calm down, it's really important not to just kind of brush it under the rug, but to reflect on it as we go to bed so we can have some closure to it, and then kind of set some daily, really easy, manageable ways to reach those goals for the next day. And then just do a very small visual of maybe 1, 2, 3 really simple, positive things that you and your kids want to reach. And you too, because it's important. I always tell my kids, I'm an adult, I make mistakes all the time. We all do. So maybe everybody kind of sets out 1 or 2 goals a day that everyone can work toward. And that's when like the caring jar can come in. And every time you catch your child really working on that, make a little note on a Post-it sticker, throw it in the jar, and they love to read it. And my youngest is 7 and my oldest is 15, and all 4 of them, I after we go through all the positive things they did all week, there's just this more positive attitude that I see from all of them, and it just kind of creates a more harmonious, peaceful environment in your own home, which I think is really important. So, somebody asked, how can my son get into Open Doors for Kids? He's 6 years old. Um, if you go on my website, www.opendoors4kids.com, you can put your information in, and I'll definitely reach out with you, usually within a day or two. And or you can always call my office. It's William Beaumont Hospital Center for Children's Center, and the phone number is area code 248-691-4744. And my office is actually incredible. That we have the Care Center, Hope, we have the Hope Center, we have occupational therapists, we have speech, we have pediatricians, psychiatrists, psychologists. We have such an incredible, amazing team. A lot of us have been there forever, and we all just work together to give a really good multimodal approach to treatment. And just really, everybody is always sharing really wonderful resources with each other and keeping everybody up to date with the newest research or the best interventions. And it's really a beautiful place to work. Like I said, I've been there for, I think, 26 years, and I'm really grateful and love the people I work with. I think they do a fantastic job servicing children and adolescents in this area. And there's a lot of really sweet, kind comments. I can't thank all of your positive feedback enough. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you guys want to say?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thank
much.
you, and keep your heads up through this, and connect with each other and enjoy each other. And thank you so much for having us here. We really, really appreciate it
Thank
so
you for the
much.
opportunity.
Thanks.